Hey everybody, welcome back. And if you're new, thanks for stopping by. So today, I'm going to take a look at this drone here, which is a HolyStone HS series HS110d. It's an FPV drone equipped with a 120-degree wide-angle 1080p HD Wi-Fi camera. So, sounds pretty cool to me. This is actually my first drone, as I've never owned one before, and as well, I didn't purchase this drone, but rather redeemed some tickets me and my wife earned at our local Pinballs arcade. The way we earn those tickets is by playing the Wizard of Oz coin pusher game mostly, which I'll show you here. We actually had earned 3 of their sets, which are worth 5,000 each. This was 20,000 tickets, but I had some other tickets from other coin pushers and the claw machine where you grab some of those rings and got lucky by earning about 5,000 tickets out of those as well. So, we were going to originally buy a Nintendo Switch with them, but since we had already purchased one and have 2 Switch lights, there wasn't really a need for another one. So, let me take a beginner's review on this today and see how it works out. Also, I figured since I'm not spending any money, I mean, technically I did play the games, but I had fun in the process and got to earn something pretty cool that I've never owned before. So, looking at this drone, it has some features here. It has an altitude hold, headless mode, which I'm not totally versed in what that is yet, but I will find out. 6-axis gyro, HD camera, of course. It's 4 channels, does 360 flips, which sounds pretty cool, has colorful LEDs, and a 3.7 volt lithium polymer battery. So, all sounds pretty neat. Although, again, I am a beginner and never owned a drone before, so maybe this will be good, maybe it won't. But honestly, as I didn't have to pay money and just got this by redeeming my tickets, if I crash it, it's not really going to be a big loss. But I figured it's a good way to learn how to fly a drone before I spend hundreds of dollars on a nice drone. So, let me flip this over and we'll see what it has on the back. So, as you can see here, there's a nice picture of our controller here, and it lists out kind of what all the controls do by default here. It has a phone holder, so I'm assuming you can get some live feed since it's an FPV drone. And some of the features for the aircraft itself says you can control it for under 150 meters, so whatever that is in feet here. 6-axis gyro, of course, the 120-degree 1080p wide-angle camera. It's on the 2.4 gigahertz radio band, so make sure if you get one of these and your buddy does, you don't get the same radio band or you're not going to have a good time if you both try to fly them at the same time. Anyway, it looks like the FPV distance is a little less at 100 meters, so I wonder if you can still record video above the 100 meters. I'm assuming so. Probably just your feed will cut out or lock up on your phone. Anyway, it says easily to assemble the camera, easily to replace the battery. Sounds like a little English there. But anyway, for the remote, I'll need 4 AA batteries, which I'm assuming those likely aren't included. But I have 4 rechargeable AA batteries, actually like 16 of them. So, more than plenty. Over here, it shows a picture of the camera, which looks like it easily goes on and off, like it says down here. And then a picture of the battery here. It says the charging time is about 120 minutes, so probably going to be less if I use a higher amperage power supply, as it says here. And then down here, it has nice QR codes for an Apple app and an Android app. So either way you go with your phone, you should be able to use it. Also, it says you'll need to connect your phone to the Wi-Fi network of the drone in order for it to work with the app. So, shouldn't be too hard. Let me get this flipped back over, open it all up, we'll take a look at what's inside. Alright, so let's open this up. And I will admit, I did open this up before. I wanted to make sure everything was in here, and wanted to charge the batteries so I could go take a flight. Remove this plastic. So, of course, we have our drone here. I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside. We'll come back to that. Obviously, the controller, which has this nifty little thing on it to kind of show you what all the controls do. I will probably take that off once I figure things out. So again, set it to the side. Extra blades, so that's pretty awesome. That way if I crash and break one of the blades or run it into a wall or something, I have replacements here and don't have to buy any right away. Ooh, and it does have a second battery, it looks like. Yep, because there is one already in the drone. But like I said, we'll come back to that, so put that aside. Charging cable. Ooh, candy. Oh, yeah. Don't eat this. I'll leave that in there. This looks like our phone mount, so can extend pretty well. These looks like guards for the blades, so if you hit somebody, hopefully this hits them first. I think there's 4, maybe 6 here. Yeah, there are 6 here. And then looks like 2 extra feet for it, so if you for some reason break the ones that are already on it. And finally, nice little booklet and multiple languages here. But we're mostly interested in the English version, and I'll read over this to learn how to use it before I take it for a test flight. However, let me move this out of the way, put all my stuff in the box so I don't lose it. We'll take a closer look at the drone. So, here's the drone itself. It's not that big, as you can see. I do have larger hands, but it's about the size of my hand here, honestly. 4 different blades. It has them labeled so you know which ones are which. So when you replace them for any reason, it also has markers here on the frame itself, or the chassis, whatever you want to call it. Here is where your battery goes into, if I can pull it out. So that's pretty simple. I already put in an SD card here just to test out what was going on. So snap the battery back in. And on the back side, we've got our charging port, our power button, and then the camera right here, which supposedly comes off as well. Oh, yep, there we go. So, pretty simple if you ask me. Let me slide that back on. I think I got it. I just want to make sure. And then make sure that's in. So, pretty neat, pretty small, and it's pretty light. So, obviously the feet can be removed and replaced. And the blades as well. So, we'll get that out of the way. Take a look at the controller. Here's our controller. And if you look here, I'll take that off. It tells you this would be ascend up and down, descend, or ascend and descend would be up and down. To turn it left and right is here, move forward, and right or left here. And this is our trim. I see up and down here. This apparently does nothing. This is to switch between headless and normal mode. Again, I'm still not sure what that means, but we'll figure that out. And then trim for left to right here. It also has these nice speed controllers and a little display here, which tells you the speed. I'll probably start at speed 1, so I don't immediately crash and break it, since it is my first drone. And it shows you if the camera's activated, and if it's in normal or headless mode. And then if you're gonna do a roll. I think this is the button, yeah, flips right here. And then this button is the one that'll take footage here. So if I hold this for 2 seconds, it'll take a video. If I just press it, it'll take a picture. And of course, I'm gonna need those 4 AA batteries, which I'll get when I take it out for a flight. Does fit in my hand pretty well. And I can hit all the buttons fairly easy without taking my hands off. Basically, like standard controller. But I think it'll work out pretty well as a beginner drone for me. Real quick here, I wanted to pause the video as I realized during editing I didn't go over what headless mode is. So, from my understanding, regardless of the orientation of the drone, if you go forward, the drone will move away from you. If you go backwards, the drone will move towards you. Left or right, it'll go left, it'll go right, regardless of which direction the drone is pointed. Now, for me, I'm used to RC cars and airplanes, so I didn't use that at all. However, I could see if you're doing like a drone flight to get some footage over an area, say Giga Texas, like some of those cool guys do, I could see it working for those. I don't know if that's what they use, but it's possible. But I just wanted to jump in and let you know what headless mode is. So back to the video. One thing I didn't mention with the drone itself, it's very light, but it does feel like very solid plastic, so I don't think it's going to be easy just to crash once and break. You'll probably break the fan blades first, or the propeller blades, I should say. I'm used to talking about PCs. And these are a little flimsy down here, but I don't think the feet will have any issues. So, I'm going to look over the booklet, figure out how to fly this thing, and then I'll take some videos of flight, go over that while I'm flying it around, give you some video from the flight, and y'all make your own decisions. This is just kind of my review of it as a first-time drone owner. Here is one of my first flights with it, and as you can see, I did hit the ground a bit, but was able to get it back in the air right away. I was mostly trying to get a feel of the controls and adjust the trim so it would hover in place. However, a bit of a breeze can push it out of position. There is no position hold, but it will maintain the same altitude during flight for the most part. I'm not doing much here in this video, or this clip I should say, but I'll let you watch to see just how this flight went. Also, just to be transparent, I didn't land it after this clip of the flight, but rather I did hit the ground with a bit of speed and it flipped over. I was able to get it right side up and get it back to flying without any issue, so I'd say it's pretty solid so far. Oh, also, the beeping you are hearing is actually from the remote control, and that's just letting me know that I'm actively recording video. So, it's not my heart monitor or something like that, it's just the controller notifying me that I am recording. After getting more familiar with the controls, I got a bit more brave and set it up a bit higher. I'd say I was about 50 feet up here in these clips, but just kind of flew it around, try to keep it in frame, just to show you how it flies. The propellers, yeah, they look like they're pausing or running slow, but that's just the frame rate of the camera. Here you can see I got way better with the controls and was able to go straight. Oh wait, that's just playing. Here's the drone. So, again, I'm just flying around the screen here, and I'm going to start doing some of the 360 flips. They're pretty cool. If you ask me, you can go forward, backwards, left or right. But in all honesty, I'm pretty sure it's just a gimmick, unless you're really, really good with flying your drone, and maybe you could flip over down to a lower level, go through a gate, through some tight obstacles, stuff like that. But I didn't really want to do that at first because I didn't want to just crash it immediately. I'll be honest, I did crash it quite a bunch, and I'll show you what the drone looks like after all these flights and any crashes. Also, birds seem to get interested in what it is, and I had a couple come pretty close to running into the drone. I got scared that I was going to hit a bird, but thankfully during all this recording and any of my flights so far, I did not. Another thing I should mention about the 360 flips is that sometimes it will drop pretty low down after doing it, and it all depends on the wind direction and how full the battery is. The lower the battery, obviously it's going to drop a lot further, but I noticed sometimes it'll drop further even with the full battery. I think it's just the wind direction not helping and the speed you're going at the time you do the flip. So, one thing to keep in mind. Next, I'm going to go into some of the footage I took with the camera that is on the drone. Now, one word of caution, if you get motion sickness easily, I recommend either stopping here and picking back up at the time I list here, or you can stop watching, whatever you choose. just wanted to give you a fair warning first. So for my first flight above the trees, I wanted to try to get a shot of the sun setting. However, as you can see, the lighting wasn't the best, especially when looking directly west of the sun, and kind of screws up the picture. Even the sky got screwed up here, so it isn't the best camera, I will say. Even just taking a photo really wasn't the best either. But when I went above the trees midday, looked away from the sunset, or the sun was behind a cloud, the quality was a bit better. Still not the greatest quality, but midday shots looked the best and could see things more clearly. I had a lot of fun looking at the clips I was able to take while flying above my neighborhood. Just cool to see things from another perspective other than an airplane or Google Earth. I did get some cool shots of some clouds blocking the sun closer to sunset, and it was still pretty cool even though the quality wasn't all there. I bet more expensive drones might help mitigate these issues, but that will come at a later date once I'm more experienced flying drones. Also, I did take it up at night to look over all the lights I could see, but the lacking of light does lower the quality of video a bit, but I still got some cool pictures. And after a couple of days of going out and flying, I got much braver and started flying through tighter objects in my yard, and I'll do a little compilation of some of the best flying around objects here. One thing I didn't mention about the drone earlier is the 4 LEDs it has on each arm. And they come in handy, especially when you're flying at night, because the two white ones mean that's the forward direction, and the blue ones mean that's back. When it's actually flying, they won't blink like this. The rear two do quick flashes, so the blue one's quick flash, and then the front one stays solid white. The only downside to that is, and I showed you in the nighttime video, is you can see these two on the camera footage. Now, I bet I could take the lenses off, which you can, and maybe that would mitigate some of the light feeding into the camera. but I rather keep them on because it gives you a better visual when it's high up in the air at night. So kind of neat. And if you flip over or the battery's low, well, if the battery's low, these stay white, but these ones will start flashing red, so you know you need to land very soon. It doesn't have an auto return feature or anything like that, so you have to get it back to you, or it's going to die, end up in a tree, someone's backyard, etc., etc. But if you do flip it over, these all turn red and it does an emergency stop, or if it's like pushed into something and one of the propellers can't spin, it'll do an emergency stop. These will all flash red, and you actually have to press up then down on the ascend and descend here to resync it. But it's pretty easy. Just flip it back over, do the ascend descend, and press the engine start, and you're back to flying. So here's a quick of the engine starting, because I don't think I showed that up close. But I can do a emergency stop, and they all stop. I don't want to stick my hands in these because probably a bad idea, and I don't want to get cut by it. I've had some close calls already just flying it around, and luckily I was able to control it, move it out of the way, and not hit myself. So here's the drone after flying around with it for a bit, and as you can see, it's still intact, one piece. It's just a little dirty. The blades are still the original that were on it. I did not switch these out, so I still have my extras. They're actually still in the box in the bag, and I didn't even have to open it, so that's quite nice. There is a little damage to a couple of the propellers. You can kind of see it here, and it's because I crashed into actually a few solid objects. I crashed into a tree, I crashed into my wooden deck, and I crashed into a metal pole, and it did take some nicks out of the props. But overall, I have to say it's pretty solid for those crashes, and as a beginner, I would expect some quality like this, so I didn't just break it right off the bat, get a new set of blades on it, and then break the second set of blades. So this is pretty good as a beginner drone, and I think these will last quite a while until I actually hit something pretty hard. I mean, I was going speed 3 a couple of times when I just smacked into the deck because I was trying to, you know, get a little brave and go through smaller areas and objects and stuff like that, because flying it close to those things is pretty neat and pretty fun. The camera footage, if you're just trying to fly with the camera on your phone through the app, close range, it works okay, but it is a bit laggy, and the further you go away, the more laggy it gets, and if you get too far away, it just stops the feed altogether. So, things to keep in mind. But again, overall, if you're a beginner looking to get into drones, I'd say this is perfect at a low cost. I think it was $96.99 or something like that on Amazon. So not too expensive. Like I said, I won this with tickets I've earned over the past 8 or so years at Pinball's Arcade. So I wouldn't be sad if I broke it, but there's no cracks in the chassis. The camera stayed on. I had the battery pop out a few times, but just pop that back in, reconnect my phone to the Wi-Fi of the drone, and I was back to flying. Sometimes I'd end up flipped over, but it has an emergency stop, so that's quite neat. You just flip it back over, press up and down on ascend and descend, and then you hit the engine start, and you can get back to flying. So pretty neat if you ask me. So again, if you're looking for a drone, never had one before, this might be the route for you. However, that is all for this video today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, maybe you'd like to see me do something else with the drone, let me know, and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. But that is going to be all for me today. I thank you all for stopping by. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and take care.